You know, even the GAP certification, Global Animal Partnership. It basically says, be nice to your animals, take care of them, do the right thing. It's like, okay, well, why wouldn't you?
I love these mamas. They're not hurting anybody. Look at them. Look at how happy they are. Look at that. That's it. I don't have a resume for you. That's just all we do. Hey guys, I'm Zach Hagan with Capra Foods, and our friends from Riomax are down from Minnesota visiting us here at my father's place in the grasslands of Oklahoma, here at Cordero Creek Ranch. As you can see, we run Dorper hair sheep and really try and take a regeneratively focused and sustainable approach to ranching and agriculture. And with that, I'll let you take it away, Dad. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what it is we're doing here and how we run this place?
We're located out of Luther, Oklahoma, in central Oklahoma. We're a commercial sheep ranch operations. We have about 1,400 head. To my knowledge, we're probably the largest sheep ranch operation in Oklahoma. We operate by pretty simple principles, dealing with animal welfare. We're GAP rated and certified. We run a grass-fed natural product. We don't really supplement with any types of feed that aren't qualifying for grass-fed. We run a hair sheep breed, the Dorpers. We don't harvest any wool or anything like that.
Well, with all the acreage out here and all the grass, even sometimes it gets tough during summer and tough during winter. I don't know what to tell you. That's just kind of ranching. This is as authentic as it gets here, because we're sitting out here in the rain filming this with you because we don't stop and the weather doesn't always allow for it. One of the things we try and do is we rotate pastures to help manage kind of both your parasite load, the impact the animals have on the ground. To be honest, they're mostly unpaid employees. They come through and manage a lot of our pastures now. You can see we've got a little bit of thistle, but you guys should have seen this place year one. This is all native pasture that we're running, and they have cleaned it up. They're the hardest working employees we've got. And our principles here are pretty easy. It's sheep being sheep, and we're just here to make that happen. So it's not working animals, it's working with them and working with the land.
Well, I think if we grow healthier animals, we produce healthier animals, that shows up on your plate. First off, the Dorper Lambs, one of the reasons we chose them, they're very high in omega-3 fatty acids. They're one of the healthier proteins from what we understand in terms of omega-3 fatty acids. They're right behind salmon. So the better product we can produce, the better product we produce for the consumer. So, we do everything in mind. It's as though we look at it as though it's something that we'd want to eat, and we do eat it. We love it, actually. It's very tasty. So,
well, and I'd argue too, we're not out here, like I said, factory farming. If you're a consumer, I'm going to drop this on you. These are artisanal lambs. That's how we're raising them. No. Look, I'll laugh at me too, okay. But at the end of the day, this is about as handcrafted as it gets, because we're hand feeding and we're working them by hand. We're just trying to do it right and hope that shows through. From our farm to your plate, we just want to know that it was right all the way there. No antibiotics, grass-fed, well taken care of, mamas with babies, just the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, That's where it starts. Our regen program, we've started off with baseline soil samples that we've analyzed. We've analyzed forage samples from the native pastures, and then we implemented a regen ag program where we've overseeded with particular plants and stuff that will actually replenish the soils from what they're being depleted of. And so again, it's kind of the circle of life. If you take care of the soil takes care of you. We can feed the animals better, produce better animals that are healthier animals. And I don't want to sound like we're out here doing anything different or looking at it any differently than I think any other farmer or rancher does. Most people that do this, it's damn hard work. And you do it because you have a love for it, and you have, a real desire to make a better product. And I think every rancher goes out every day doing the best they can to take care of their animals and do right by their animals and doctor them if they need doctoring, taking care of them, they want to produce a better product, that's better for everybody in the long run. They make more money, and in turn, they produce a better product. So I do believe, that's just indigenous to the lifestyle. If you're willing to come out and put the effort in, it takes a tremendous amount of effort to come out and ranch or farm. It's in your blood, and you're doing it for the right reasons.
One of the components we try and incorporate here and have been, big fans of is the Riomax tubs, namely for what it does for animal welfare. So sheep in particular are extremely susceptible to mineral imbalances. And if that's not something that you're constantly monitoring, you're opening up your flock to, all sorts of risk. They'll start dropping body quality. On hair sheep, you'll actually see they'll have trouble shedding and getting off that winter fleece, in addition to opening themselves up for illness and everything else. And like I said, it looks green now because we're filming. We cleaned house, right? And come winter, this all goes dormant. I mean, this is native pasture. And so you pretty much have a standing hay, and you've got to figure out how to make your ranch work for you, I guess. And part of the way we do that, so we're not just killing ourselves with feed, is using a protein supplement like Rio to kind of keep their body quality up. If you can keep them up, you're good. But as we know from some tough winters, walking them back is a nightmare.
This was our first year really to utilize Rio from the start, and we think it made a significant difference on our flock, in terms of body quality going into winter, and most importantly, maintaining through winter. As we were talking earlier off camera, we had a winter where we broke 135-year-old records this year, and our losses were nominal at best. I mean, it was negligible, and we really attribute a lot of that to having a supplement like Rio that we run our animals on. I don't think we would have had near those results. We have problems with even being able to feed in those kinds of conditions. We had 12 to 14 inches of snow on the ground and minus 17 degree temperatures. So I'm based on past history and what we've seen with these animals in conditions like that, I really believe that we would have had significant losses if we wouldn't have had an additional supplement in the form of Rio. So I'm a big believer in the performance of it.
Well, and following up from that, the last time you guys saw me, right, I was in Minnesota, and I pitched this control study idea that we're doing. We've got 60 acres over there, 100 ewes, and they are, I guess, in what is a traditional program, or what we would consider a traditional program. They are sheep being sheep. They are out there with the dogs. We do, they run on native pasture, and we do have a loose mineral supplement that we're providing them. That we get from Stillwater up here. But in this pasture, we've got some of my personal favorites. These are the sweetest mamas we got, but we're running this flock on Rio. And what's happened is we just went through and pulled bucks. So they were on Rio through the flushing and through the breeding. And I mean, if you guys put bucks on ewes, the body quality held up. And we're gonna maintain that Rio all the way through the next 5 months of gestation, and then even through the weaning and lambing process. And we'll also be tracking our lambing percentages. I want to get some wean weight data too, because I think that's real big. Like I said, I don't have anything to substantiate it, but I just noticed off our last lambing season, my dad was talking about how big the lambs came out. What was it you said there?
Oh, you were laughing about that. Yeah, we had one mom that gave birth to a lamb. It had to be 15 pounds. And I mean, my comment was it came out shaving and smoking. So it was prettiest little black-headed Dorper ram that you've ever seen. And I mean, just huge. Almost amazed at the fact that the mom could give birth to that animal without having complications or problems. So we've really seen an increase in the size of our lambs this year. And again, the only thing that we're doing different is we're supplementing with Rio. So I think what Zach's alluding to is that we're going to try and do a little bit more of a controlled group study and try and put some statistics together between animals that are on Rio, animals that aren't on Rio, and gather some data to support our conclusions that we've come to just by watching them. So
winning in ranching, and with our focus of regenerative agriculture and sustainability, it's a number of things. It's a number of things that we believe in at Capra Foods. So it's not just, putting dollars on a scoreboard, although that's important. I mean, I think, for us, we run a commercial operation. This isn't seed stock. So at the end of the day, if I'm going to introduce something into my program, I need to know how it's going to pencil. I need to know that having a larger wean weight means I'm going to be able to move my animal to market faster, right? And I'm not going to be burning up my grass. Or that there's something going on in the gut biome or something attributing to an increased efficiency and really in background in what we call a conversion rate, right? So the amount of grass they're taking in and pounds they're putting on. So I need to see a gain. I mean, it can be the coolest thing in the world, but if it's not gaining and if it's not helping me, try and make some money so I can keep doing this, it's not doing anything for me.
And also with your lambs, when you have larger size lambs being born, I mean, their ability to survive and thrive are way better than a lamb that's born that's half that weight. I mean, there's a huge difference between a 6 or 7 pound lamb and a 14 or 15 pound lamb. So I mean, just from the time that they hit the ground in terms of survivability, and you start getting anything less than about 6 or 7 pounds, and it starts to get real dicey, and that's usually attributable to ewes that were bred and either had, poor nutrition through gestation or some other factors that were involved. But, it all comes down to production. And at the end of the day, you've got to be able to, make better lambs, keep lambs alive. We noticed we seem to have a greater number of twins, and we even had a number of set of triplets this year. So I can't say that that's necessarily attributable to the Riomax, but I can say that I don't think you have those situations without good body condition and good nutrition of the mamas. It just doesn't happen.
We're not a factory farm. We're not running a feedlot. I mean, I don't know, we're in a pasture with a bunch of sheep, and that's kind of how we do it. That's how we do it at Cordero Creek. That's how we do it at Capra. And so I need something that's going to support these animals and keep them happy and healthy. Because success isn't just, like I said, it's not just dollars on a scoreboard, right? Because for me to win, they have to win. Right. And that's how we have to do that. And so I'm looking at components of, what is the best decision for the sheep? Because if that's the best decision for them, it's the best decision for me.
I think finally now consumers, have a desire to kind of know where their food's coming from. In the past probably 40, 50, 60 years, you just went to a grocery store and you picked up some meat. You didn't know where it came from. You didn't know how it was taken care of. There's probably underlying assumptions there, but now they can actually get in touch with the farmers and ranchers that are doing this, and I think it's good for the farmers and ranchers out there. I think it's, they finally get a little bit of acknowledgement as to what goes into really making something that's good for your table. Before they're the unsung heroes. You never saw the farmers and ranchers behind the scene. The guys are getting up at, 3 or 4 a.m. to milk cows, or us out here this last winter at minus 17 degrees feeding 1,400 head of sheep. Those aren't the fun things to do, but you do them because that's what you've committed to, and that's what's in your blood. These are all natural. Again, it's not, I think ranching probably got some bad press over the years for the days when they used to pump things full of antibiotics and different stuff to try and put weight on animals. None of that happens here. None of that happens on most ranches nowadays. They're all antibiotic free. We try to produce a healthy product that goes to consumers.
Yeah, that's part of why we've made commitments to be Capra certified producers, is because their principles were in line with ours, and we just didn't agree with that stuff. This is not that complicated at the end of the day. Just, what the right thing is, just do it. And as far as taking care of the land, I mean, trying to keep the ranch in the family and pass that on, that's all we're out here doing. So you want to take care of it and leave it better than you found it, right? So you want to improve your soils, you want to take care of your animals. I mean, this is, I don't know. I feel like, kind of like what you mentioned, maybe the rancher, I don't know about a bad rap, that was before my time, but I know, especially in light of the pandemic and everything, you know, you always heard frontline workers, and they were talking about, you know, all the other amazing people in our communities and stuff that are out there doing it. But I feel like rancher's always been a frontline worker. I mean, we've been out here in the rain. We were out here when it was 17 degrees. If they're cold, we're cold. All right, that's how it works. And so there is no, you know, staying at home, calling in sick, taking a day off, global pandemic, what have you. I mean, it's as frontline as you get. But that's what it takes, and that's what we do.
Stomp you to death, so, or throw you into a fence or something like that.
I mean,
So-
she might get a little ornery, but you can talk about it. You can adjust.
They're
some
the size
attitudes.
that you can wrestle them.
Yeah.
Although I pulled
Some
my
of those
bicep
bugs.
tendon off my bone by one of them, trying to corral one of them. So she was a big girl, but yeah, I think she got the best of me that day.